or hit record. All right, and welcome to session 2 of for the fall of our YOTA Tuesday. We did 11 trainings in the springtime, and we're continuing that every Tuesday night. It doesn't have to be deep and long and formal. We're going to touch on some things so you have some resources. And those are going to be the virtual sessions. We are going to have some in-person sessions as well that are going to be, you might have to register for. We're going to have that up either tomorrow, the next day, before the end of the week. We're going to have the full list with registration links and such in it, and descriptions. But we'll touch on some of those tonight, and we'll hopefully, I think, have some good turnouts for those. And I want to remind everybody, there's one definition of leadership that is saying the same thing over and over in different ways for different audiences. And so you're going to keep hearing me repeating some things. And this Year of the Artist strategy it's really simple at its heart. It's really about community engagement and accentuating the fact that we can create the kind of community we want, and that arts can be at the center of not only the kind of community we want to be, but the process of getting there. So we're really focusing on the process this year, and we're digging in with a sense of inquiry, a sense of appreciation for the kind of place we are, certainly appreciation for the people around us. And we're doing it with a little bit of advocacy, because we think it's important to get this message out there, that the arts aren't on top of something, that they are really and can be interwoven with all of the goals of a community. So we are working to advance community goals. We're integrating artists in civic problem solving. That's where that process comes into play. We're learning a lot. We're seeing already with the Artist in Residence program, it's easy for somebody on a committee to say, well, oh, you're an artist, so you can paint us a mural. Well, yeah, the artist might be able to paint a mural, but the artist might also be able to bring their problem solving and artistic practice, the way they think about things, into the civic space, into the way decisions are being made, and in the way things are understood. So we really do want to focus on that process. Let's see. Then additionally, we're exploring and experimenting. We don't really know how to do this. We haven't seen a community do this before. We're not modeling on something. We're learning, and we're trying to create a lab. And we invite artists, and we invite the community alongside, in there with us, kind of rolling our sleeves up and learning together and experimenting. That kind of helps really shape that sense of inquiry. We don't have to have all the answers to get involved and to try and make a difference. We want to pay artists through this process. It's really critical to us. We want to strengthen the artist network. We want to connect. That means connecting across the community. It means connecting the arts to issues. It means connecting people who don't think about the creative process or arts every day, to think about how they impact their lives. So lots of connection happening. I hit the wrong button. And then we want to have fun and have fun and engage with a sense of play. Someone said recently, they're talking about issues and how important it is to work on important issues, serious issues that affect our lives. But is there a way, to do it with a sense of joy? And so that can be a tough thing. That can be a tough thing to balance sometimes. But we do want to engage in this with a sense of play. We want to have fun. That's how people learn really best together, is by playing and having fun. And we are, at the core of all of this, working to build a learning community. So I'm going to keep, this slide keeps popping up. Charlie's probably going, man, I've seen this slide 40 times now. But it keeps popping, it keeps popping up. because it is important, and we want you to be able to communicate this as well. And so even if it's just, you know, a little bit of this, you don't have to do it verbatim, but if you can engage somebody in learning alongside you, and think and kind of sometimes do a little timeout and tell them why we're doing it this way. It can be fun. Okay. So tonight, every time we do one of these calls, we start with inspiration, reflection, and learnings. So, and we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it if no one wants to share anything, but we do like to create a space to share. It could be something great that's happened with you in your practice, and we can celebrate it together. And that's a terrific way to get started. And then we're going to talk about some programs that we've got going on, just to get some kind of housekeeping out of the way. And then we're going to really hit on the Art Matters grants. So this is just a fun way tonight to get you to, if you're doing an Art Matters grant, you get to talk about what it is, you know, to spend a few minutes talking about what it is, and if there are opportunities for others to get involved, or if you have a question that you're exploring, feel free to put it out there to the group. It could be just a kind of an overarching question. It can be rhetorical, or it can be one that you're looking for answers to. And so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk a little bit about how we want to support you as you're doing those. And there is I think some of you or everybody should have already gotten the link to the reporting form, and that reporting form is really a way for us to support you. So we'll look at that a little bit today as well. And you know what? I don't believe I want to do this with a sense of play. I want to have fun. I want everybody to enjoy what we're doing. If you just don't feel it tonight and you don't want to talk about your project, just say pass. It's not a big deal at all. No, really, it's not a big deal at all. But so if I end up calling on you, or if you're working on a proposal and you want to talk about it, that's fine too. So everybody will have a chance to talk about, if they're interested, to talk about something tonight. Okay. So are there any, is there any inspiration, any reflections, or any learning that anyone wants to share tonight? All right, Catherine, you're going to model the way for us? You're on mute.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that. I just wanted to go right ahead and thank you and Jane and John, who showed up for our first monthly self-portrait project and Sister Cities event at the municipal building. And I really want to welcome all of you all who haven't made it, or if you've made it and want to come again, to be part of that, to just come for whatever time you can. So we'll be doing it the third Monday of every month during the period of time that the 48 artist self-portraits are exhibited in the municipal building. So there'll be details about that, and there will be a link. I think Doug already put it in the chat for anybody who's in our group that wants to go ahead and commit to a month that they know they want to be a guest. But it's not a big deal, and it went really well, I feel like, last night. So I won't take up too much time with that, but we'll do a little talk with a Sister Cities representative, and then go up to the gallery and look at some of the art and talk to whoever artist signs up to share a little bit. So it's not a real obligation, a lot of effort, but it was super fun. People loved it. I even got a mention in the actual city council meeting where somebody was talking about the Evans Spring project. And they were saying, you know, Roanoke City is so fabulous. Look at the art we have in the hallway. We just got to see, you know, they even mentioned how vibrant our city is. And the art was one of the things they highlighted. So that was really cool. So thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, I keep hearing references to the work of our artists that's on the fourth floor. Last night, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed hearing last night about Wonju, our sister city in Korea. And there's so much art connection in so many ways that they're using the arts to connect to our sister cities. And we've got 7 of them, and they're all over the world. And last night, I think Catherine and I both looked at each other like, wow, that's cool. And like with a sense of of opportunity because they talked about a very particular style of paper making that happens in Wanju, and it uses uses the mulberry tree. And we're like, wow, wouldn't that? And they apparently have a museum about this paper as well. And I can't remember the name of it, but that's a goal. I'm going to learn the name of it. I'm going to learn about this practice, and hopefully one day, we'll have a workshop here in the community about it. Now we do have, and so Sister Cities has artist exchanges. They have a youth arts competition. They're doing a competition right now in the community for a video it's part of this exchange with Wanju, and we'll be putting information about that in our newsletter this coming week. All right, does anybody else have anything they want to share? Kind of inspiration, reflection, anything they're learning? Kayla.
So I guess I have a learning thing that I've been like discovering just throughout like the entire project. So my project is still in like its pre-production phase and casting phase, but I've been able to meet a lot of different artists going back and forth from like New York or California, and just like online and kind of asking questions. So I've kind of learned to really ask for what you need and not be afraid of no. So like if somebody says no, then it's, it's fine. But if they don't, then you've reached out and you've kind of made a new connection. So I've really been reaching out to people and just kind of telling them about the project and like what the project is still needing. And I've gotten to talk to a lot of great and unique people like Antoine Hunter, who's a fantastic deaf dancer located in California, and David Sabio, who's going to be my DASL, my Director of Artistic Sign Language on my project. And these are people that just like I would never have met had I not made phone calls and just kind of put myself out there. So I guess just learning to, keep asking and keep seeking, and then help will come your way.
I love it. I love it. Kayla, since you're talking about your project now, I'd like you to go ahead now. The nice thing about having a small group is we can shift order a little bit. I'd like you to go ahead, if you can, just give us your few sentences that describe your project.
Yeah, so my project is called Like Moonlight on Water. It's a short film, probably going to be 22, 25 minutes. But it talks about a young dancer named Layla who falls in love with ballet from a young age. And then she, throughout her young career, is diagnosed with Meniere's disease and ends up losing her hearing. And people tell her basically to stop dancing. This is the end of the road for you. You can't keep going anymore because you can't hear. But through like finding her own strength and the strength of her mother helping her as well, she learns to keep going and is determined to keep going to become a great dancer despite, not despite being deaf, but learning to combine those two things and kind of finding new strength within herself. Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you very much for modeling the way with us on describing your project. And the Art Matters grants, we're really excited. I was happy. I had to reach out to the NEA about something else, so I sent them the list of the second round. And they were super impressed, she said, by the variety of art forms, the way people are engaging. We do have a really nice mix, and it's terrific to have filmmaking included in that as well. Now, that saying no, people don't want to say no typically. I think down deep, they want to say yes if there's a way. And part of what we're doing with this Year of the Arts is to find structures to say yes as a community, to say yes as a local government to projects that are proposed for us. Now, we've got to have those structures in place. We've got to have a system that allows folks to say yes. But I love the idea of reaching out to people across the country, to asking the questions. And, sometimes you think just a simple informational interview where you say, you know what, can I have 20 minutes of your time or 15 minutes of your time to talk to you about your work? People really seem responsive to that. I've never had anybody say no, that they can't spare me 15 minutes to talk about their work. And who knows, there's often a kind of a connection that happens around there. So I admire you for reaching out that way, and we appreciate it. All right, is there one more? Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, in order to talk about this, I have to sort of segue into talking about my project too. So
Great. Go ahead and do it.
I'll just do the reverse here, but um, I'm doing a version of this project in Winston-Salem, where I've been loaning a sculpture posed in the pose of giving a benediction, and I'll loan that sculpture to places of worship that want to place it out in front as a gesture to the community. And I've been thinking about how I want to develop the project further. And I've had a few cases where I've done some, I met with a study group about the idea of public art and the relationship it has to the whole idea of worship. And so that kind of inspired me to think about when I do start contacting places of worship in Roanoke, that part of the agreement, I think, will be that the place of worship will kind of sign on to borrow the sculpture and place it there, but also spend that period of 40 days, which is the length of time that they get to have the sculpture, to spend that time in thinking about and doing things that help them explore their relationship with their community, so that they have a more deliberate kind of focus on it, that it pushes the project just a little bit further. So I know that because I'm going to do it for 1 year, if it's 40 days in length of time for each place of worship, I only have 9 places of worship that I can do it with. So I think I'll be able to be maybe more selective and deliberate in choosing places to invite to participate. So I'm excited about doing it because it's taking it a little further and some more interesting directions for me. And the first placement will be at the Central Mennonite Church. We've got the agreement and arrangements to do that starting in January 1. It'll be there for 40 days. And I've met the pastor, and we have some kind of we have some things in common about what we value and what thoughts we have about about this project and about community. So it's off to a good start. Then one last thing is that I visited the Martin Luther King Bridge, which pastor actually suggested.
Oh, so something just happened, Charlie. You're a little muffled now. Did something get late? There you go. That fixed it.
Oh, maybe, yeah, okay, I know what happened, yeah. So the pastor of Central Mennonite Church suggested that if we would want to, late in this year, promote the beginning of the project, to have it, the sculpture placed in some prominent place, he suggested Martin Luther King Bridge. And I talked to Doug about it, and I think he said that Doug said that it's a possibility. So I visited there and stood above Shenandoah Avenue there with my arms raised up, thinking about the sculpture being there and seeing cars drive underneath me. You know, I thought, yeah, this would work really nice, you know. So anyway, that's where I am.
Great. As soon as you kind of have a sense of where of how you want to do it, what period of time you'd want to have it there, like where specifically, and then what kind of mounting we'd have to do.
Right.
Let me know about that so I can explore it with facilities engineering and
Right.
such.
I'll be working on that. Yeah.
Great. And then we learned a lot too when we did the Arts and Parks project, working with neighborhoods, and we would do some terrific events and have cultural organizations, and Catherine was part of it, and a bunch of artists. And we kind of realized, like, later on after doing a few, we're like, well, maybe we should be asking the neighborhoods how they want to use it up front as we're selecting the neighborhoods. So even, there's nothing wrong with that little bit of a selection process where you say to the congregation, hey, what would you do with this if you had it?
Yeah,
And
right.
get them thinking about it up front. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah.
Well, great, Charlie. We're excited about that project as well. Well, I'm gonna we're just gonna flip it. We're rolling with this, and I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna keep moving through. And Bryce, you've got you want to talk about your projects?
Yeah. So can everybody hear me fine? I hope the audio is working. But yeah. So I'm actually working on two projects, and they both kind of have really strong similarities. So I feel like it wouldn't be too much working on both of them. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'll talk about the first one. So the first project I'm working on is through CHIP. They're called CHIP is the Child Health Investment Partnerships. And what they do is essentially they work with families in need or families in mostly lower income families who are in just need of resources, in need of help. And they reach out to the house. They make home visits to each family, and they just come by and really just check on the families and make sure that everything that's going on in the house is perfect for the kids and perfect for the families, and just give them anything that they might need. And, I actually went on a home visit with one of the agents out there, and it was just such an enlightening experience. I got to meet the family, and I got to meet the kids and just play with the dog, and it was just it was just a good environment. You know what I'm saying? Just to see how hard they actually work with the families made me really inspired to work on the project. So essentially what the project is I've reached out to Rachel Hopkins, and I'm working with her. She's the head over there at CHIP. And what they pretty much what I would like to do is I would like to design a piece for their lobby area for the CHIP headquarters. And they just remodeled the entire space to try to make it more welcoming and make it more inviting for the kids to come and read. They have a new library in there. They have everything that you might ever need in that one building. And so what I would like to do is add some type of artwork or inspirational artwork in there to kind of just complete the space, you know what I'm saying? And give it just a sense of calmness and a sense of relaxation. As soon as you step in there, I would like for it to just be calm. And I want all the families to know that they are welcome in there and that this is a place where they can come whenever they just need to decompress. And so, so I've been, like I said, I've been working with them, and I've been on these home visits and everything, trying to just get a sense of what the families might need, what the families might appreciate in visual art form. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and we really just want to kind of preach the importance of collaboration and solidarity, and not just like a saviorism type of aspect where they feel like CHIP is just there to just save, but rather than they're actually there to work with the family and kind of just like, you know what I'm saying, work with the family and just find ways to where they can both learn from one another rather than just CHIP just pouring information down. They actually learn from the families themselves, and they can put that back into their organization. So that way they can just better inform and better enrich the families that they serve. And I want to just be a part of that, honestly, by giving them this artwork and giving them these pieces of art where they can feel like they had a hand in it. And they also just feel like this was made for them. You understand? So that's pretty much the first project. It's a blessing to be able to work with them on this project and meet those families and everything like that. I'm just blessed to be able to just come into their atmosphere, honestly. And the second project is it's a little bit similar, honestly. It's through Berglund, the Berglund Center, and the Gainesboro Northeast neighborhood area of Roanoke, where I will be also designing a mural. It'll be a painting, but it'll be put onto the wall as a mural, and of a vibrant, just a vibrant painting that kind of pictures the Northeast area pre urban renewal. And so how we've been trying to formulate that. We're still in the early stages. I haven't begun designing anything yet or anything like that, but I've been meeting with, I just had a meeting today actually with another individual who grew up in the Northeast area before the renewal, and just listening to their stories and listening to all the fun that it just the area had in that time. It was just so fun. And it was so energetic in the spirit. And they sometimes they cry talking about it because of how it just impacted them growing up and how the takeaways that they had for those moments that they grew up with, you understand? And so I'm working with them. I'm working with the family. I'm working with Jordan Bill. He's the historian in residence, and he is helping me conduct these interviews, and he is a really prominent figure in the community. So it's great working with him because a lot of people trust him and a lot of people admire him. And so we can really get and engage more people that way, having somebody like that they trust and they know in the community, showing that he's willing to put the effort in to give them something that I feel like they deserve, you understand? And I'll be working with him and David Ramey Jr., who is the artist David Ramey Sr.'s son. And he has pictures of David Ramey Sr.'s drawings that he drew. He grew up in the Northeast area, and he would paint these beautiful, beautiful, energetic pictures of the area. And so we're working with him and trying to get inspiration from him because we would love to have his energy and his spirit kind of incorporated into the piece as well. And I just want to it's just get able to know the neighborhood and just know the people in the neighborhood is just such a, like I said about the last project, it's just a blessing, honestly, just getting to talk to these people, because a lot of the things that went on in this neighborhood or the things that were here in the area, I just didn't know about, you know what I'm saying? I had no idea about what went on before pre-renewal, and just to see how it impacted these people, honestly, it's just a blessing to be in there and be in their circle and just learn from them, honestly. That's pretty much the two, so it's quick little, maybe not quick, but a little skim through the projects I plan to do. And if I come up with any questions, I probably will have a lot of questions, and I would love to, if I ever come up with them, I would love to be able to reach out to any of you guys, maybe to help me through it or help me kind of brainstorm some things. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm working on.
Terrific. Thanks, Bryce. Both of those are significant. The Berglund Center in particular, that's the Berglund Center has been there 50 years, a little bit plus 50 years. And it's a product of that time. And the way that product was developed was by intentionally not recognizing the vibrancy, the talents, the people of a neighborhood, undervaluing it intentionally so that it could be destroyed. And that's just the bottom line of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hope that we are better understanding the past so that we don't make those kinds of mistakes today. We're trying to connect across neighborhoods, across the community. And there has to be some understanding of, kind of collectively of what happened. And there are many people that we could talk to in the community who don't know that story. So there's going to be a lot of, I mentioned earlier that definition of leadership, telling the same story over and over again. And Jordan Bell spoke the other night at the Equal Justice Initiative event, and it was people were on their feet applauding him just because he told it in a really powerful way, and everyone feels that we have to keep telling that story. So your artwork will be telling that story, I just want to give you a big thumbs up for that ride along with Chip. That's terrific. Really understanding that kind of that inquiry, that the inquiry and the empathy and the being with and being present, with your, in a way you look at this as almost as a client, I guess, a partner, because they approached you about this, right? They were
right,
like, hey,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some real skills that you'll use throughout your artistic practice. Yes. I know. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks,
all right.
John.
Now, and then while we're talking about, there's kind of a blend there between the artist or historian in residence, Jordan Bell, and the work Bryce is doing. I think Pedro, who's one of our coaches, it wants to get some movement involved with that project as well when the time's right. So he's on the sidelines because he does a lot of work with Berglund Center and works with all the fourth graders through the Dance en Español program. And I know he's got some thoughts. So we're going to weave those in eventually as well. But while we're also talking about artists in residence, there's another hybrid program in that Christine Carr is an artist in residence with stormwater. And we wanted to keep growing this program as we were developing it. And stormwater said, hey, we can give you some resources to hire the artist in residence. And we said, okay, when we'll use Art Matters funding, we'll let her apply for that to do a project. And so Christine's still in the exploration phase, but Christine, you want to tell us about what your what's happening with your work right now?
Sure. I do want to start with saying it's great to hear from everybody about your projects. I love learning about Roanoke, and it's really amazing to learn about it through all of your eyes too. So I'm excited to see how all these projects unfold. So yes, my project hasn't been established yet, so it might be a little bit different that I'm kind of approaching it from reverse a little bit. My background, a lot of the work I do is based on environmental issues, so it's a good match. But I'm also very interested in hearing a lot more about what stormwater does. And so far, I've gone to a couple of events with them, and I'm going to be going with them to Go Fest in the middle of October when they have a booth set up, and I'm learning a lot about what they do. And so my goal is to see what they are interested in and what their priorities are and their focus areas are, and then develop some projects along those lines. So I'm since I have time to work on this, I'm taking the time to experiment with some slightly different approaches. For me, my background's in photography and I dabble in video, but also to explore some ideas that I've had that I haven't had a chance to get to yet. So that's starting to gel. And right now I'm focusing on a few areas. One is trash and pollution in the river. So I was part of the helped with the Tinker Creek cleanup day and we collected a lot of trash, and I kept a few bags of that. So I'm scanning in some of that on my flatbed scanner. And what that does, as opposed to taking pictures of it, is that anywhere that the trash is touching the scanner bed, it creates a really, really detailed image. And then the focus falls away quickly, and the light's coming from that direction. That's sort of unusual because we're used to seeing things lit by the sun. And so it looks like it's just a photograph of trash, but there's something odd about it. And my goal is to start piecing these separate scans of trash together, piecing them together in Photoshop and making perhaps, hopefully, some really, really large banners that I could display publicly. And our first test of this will be for Go Fest, in which I want to make use some of their sandwich boards and put some of these on the sandwich boards, and maybe an 8-foot wide banner for their tent as well. And then include handouts or information about the stormwater system. Everything in the streets goes right into the stormwater and right into the rivers, right into our waterways, and really get that message out there. And a few other components, I went and collected benthic macro invertebrates, which are small bugs in the river, and that they're able to look at those and find out about the health of the waterway. And I'm thinking about scanning in these little bugs, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those yet. I have a few ideas, but that's an ongoing project. And then I have a GoPro, and I'm interested in issues of flooding, and I'm thinking about an abstract video of some sort that might allude to the idea of flooding, the flood of '85, or current issues and that sort of thing. And by using time lapse, I've been doing time lapses of my house floods. So I'm strapping it to a pole and just taking picture after picture as the water gets higher in the street and recedes. And I'm putting it underwater, and I want to start going around town and recording what it looks like underwater, and just seeing where that takes me. And I'm not sure where that might be projected. I love the idea of maybe doing it outside, but maybe I get my own screens outside, or trying to figure out some relevant locations. And then riparian buffer zones, or the use of plants to collect, to slow down flooding, and to also collect and filter out toxins before they get to waterways. And so I've been practicing with plant-based photos, and I'm wondering if there's a way to tie that in somehow. That's still sort of a loose idea. Those are 4 things that I'm focusing on at the moment. And I'm going to have a lot of questions. One right now is I'm just not sure if I do large banners of trash, like where some good spots would be for that. I think that visibility would be great, and being able to get the message out there would be great. But I need to do a lot more location scouting, and I have a couple of ideas, but if anybody has any thoughts about that, feel free to contact me or put it in the chat, or let me know at some point too. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Christine. I can, hearing those, all the different projects and your thought processes as you're exploring both your craft, new aspects of craft, and the issues. I can just imagine stormwater at the end of this going, we've got to always have an artist in residence, or we've got to figure out how to make this part of how we do things. And I know it feels like you're doing a whole lot, kind of like a lot of little, which is a lot of little projects. Not that any one of them is little, but you're doing maybe just a lot of projects. Or you're thinking along a lot of pieces, aspects of what they do. That I think that's going to be a really valuable aspect of your approach. Yeah. So thank you. All right. And is that William? Is that Will Smith? Is that who it is? If it is, we can't hear you. You might have to hit your button. Yeah.
Yep, it's me. I'm traveling back from teaching.
Great. Well, thanks for being on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your project?
Sure. My daughter's in the car too, so you might get some extra commentary. So my piece it's kind of funny because Kayla, I didn't know about her piece until I started mine. But it's a ballet for the deaf. And when I first set out for this, I was thinking, what's a good way to bring them into the space of dance? And the piece Lark Ascending by Ray Vaughan Williams is my absolute favorite piece of classical music. It has sweeping motions. It's quite an amazing piece. And how can I take that piece and bring it to the deaf community? So the first part is I'm going to take it. It's a tone poem by George Meredith, wrote the poem that the music is based off of. So we will take the poem and turn it into a 7-piece choral work. So it'll be turned into a choral work to begin with, and you'll see that in the show first. It'll be read, and then it will be sung. There'll be interpreters for both. And then I'm going to take the choral work and translate the choral work into the dancing. I'm working very closely with Betsy Quillen, who is going to be helping me basically bring this to life. It's really blown my mind how much sign language, how complicated it can be, and how complex you can show a vast variety of emotions and feelings with
You might be hitting a dead spot.
just or great many. So I think this will really provide I'm very much looking forward to it. So I'll be starting rehearsal. Yeah, that was a dead zone I always pass through. I apologize.
Well, that's all right. I think we got most of it. So it sounded like there's you hit on the American Sign Language and the variety of I think how you're going to choreograph based on that and the kind of freedom you'll have. But maybe, are you there? I think we caught
not only because
well, I think we got a good sense of it. Thank you for that. Yeah. And again, there's the original.
awesome. No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so there's the original piece of music, there's the choral translation, there's the choreography based on that on that. It's a big project, and what was really impressive too were the number of collaborators that you'll have throughout it. So really exciting. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Olivier, are you there? And Olivia, let's see. I'll see. So Olivier, if he's not there, I'll tell you a little bit about what he's doing. Oh, there. Are you there?
Yeah, just very bad.
Terrific. Are you?
I'm trying to
So you may not be in a good place to speak tonight.
I just right now all the cars. I just right now everything that because actually there's a little place. I just trying to figure out where this place.
It sounds like you might be outside running or outside moving around, and I'm not getting it real clearly. Let me see. Did anybody else get anything? Get it? Will Olivier, we can try it again next time too if you're in a more settled spot. But I can tell folks. I can tell folks briefly that they might be the subject of Olivier's work, and Olivier does his art using the computer, the tablet. So he's doing digital art, and he is it's very much illustration style. So when we were talking with him, his proposal is to kind of capture some of what is happening with the Year of the Artist in our big end of the year document. So we'll be sharing with him pictures of what you're doing as you're doing your work. And he's going to translate that into some illustration for us. And so we're really excited about that as well. Now, I want to talk about two quick things. One is support for you. We want to make sure that when you're having issues or you have a challenge, that we're able to be here for you and kind of connect you to some resources. We've already had someone reach out and say, "Hey, I need some help with something," and we're able to make the connections to kind of work through that issue pretty quickly. And the reason why we're able to do it is because they put a note in their report. And you can tell a lot from these monthly reports when you're having a little bit of a challenge. It reads, you can tell. And she couldn't be on the call tonight, but Catherine Schnabel is reading through those very closely. She's reaching out to me every time she gets with updates and says, "Okay, here's a challenge. Can you talk to this person?" Additionally, Catherine Devine, who's on the call tonight, Pedro Salai, and Katie Trazo are all helping with coaching as well. And so you'll see them providing workshops during the year as well. They'll be helping you if you need some support. And I think it's a terrific team. And then on top of that, Samantha Meyer, who's sending out the newsletter every week, and we hope you're all starting to get the newsletter. Every week we'll start to, you'll see hopefully some things about your projects in the newsletter, or if you need some, if you want to get, say Kayla's working on a film and she needs some extras and she has 20 slots for extras, and we could put a call in that newsletter for it, things like that. We're happy to do that kind of stuff, and we'll celebrate what you're doing. So that is also coming through the reports. So we're going to be sitting, we had a meeting last week. We were all kind of around the table and doing some collaborative kind of problem solving, some collaborative like dreaming about what this is going to look like at the end of the day, come the end of the year. And additionally, Samantha, who I just mentioned, she's doing a podcast. Where we've got a podcast with the Arts Commission, and she's going to be the host of it this year, and she's going to be interviewing artists who are taking part in the Year of the Artist. So you might watch out for being called to have a fun conversation with Samantha. So all of that to say, stay in touch with us. And that monthly report, has anybody had trouble finding it? Everybody's good with that? Okay, great. Well, I'm going to switch then, since we reversed the order. I'm going to head now back to our slides and just make sure that I'm catching everything. And we do have inspired grants, we've called them. And now I'll tell you a little bit kind of behind the scenes on this. These are the grants. They're a maximum of $100. If you see something that's happening in the community, a cultural event that's happening in the city of Roanoke, and it can be pretty much anything. So it could be, but it's great if it's kind of tied to the work that you're doing. We'll give you up to $100, which could be, say, two $40 tickets for you and a friend or a significant other, your partner, to go to the event. And then there's $20 for a babysitter, or $20 for dinner, or such. It could be that Catherine is the Sister Cities artist in residence, and she took advantage of this to go to a benefit concert by a Ukrainian pianist that Sister Cities hosted. So the Arts Commission today approved her grant for $100 to buy that ticket. So we haven't had a whole lot of response to this, and we've been kind of pushing it out there since I don't know, for 4 or 5 months now. So I don't think we're going to keep them out there that much longer. But if anyone is interested in getting out, this project is doing two things. One, it's buying tickets to cultural events, and we are finding that everybody's ticket sales are down. You know, these cultural organizations in our community are really important to us, and across the country, across, you know, kind of around the world, it's ticket sales are down, and they're going to stay down for a while, it's projected. So it's one way to kind of support the organizations. But we also think that it's the inspiration for a painter may come from a symphony. The inspiration for a musician may come from a novel they're reading, or a play that's being put on. I'm a big fan of kind of filling your cup with all kinds of information, and then, you know, getting your, well, I guess it's a mortar and pestle, maybe you're getting in there and grinding it all together and seeing what comes out of it. But please, if you're interested in that, we're going to keep these open through October. It's a simple application. You'll find it on the YOTA website. And then after that, we'll let those go. I think we budgeted $3,000 for it total, and we're not near that yet. The Art Matters grants, if you're interested in applying for somebody else, so you've got friends out there who have talked to you and like, what are you doing? Tell me about that. We've got 10 more grants we can give. We have some people who have applied, and I'm following up with those people in the next 2 weeks to just to kind of help them refine their project if they want to, find out if they're still interested in doing it. Some projects we're ready to fund, and some projects we thought might need a little bit more work. So we might have some that are already coming up into this next cycle. But I'm sure we don't have all of them yet. So if you know of anyone who is interested, please do encourage them to apply by September 30th. I hope then that we're going to have all of these grants done. But we're also working hard, and I've submitted 2 more applications to continue this kind of work in different forms in the next year. So we hope to be hearing from some of those as well. And again, so YOTA Tuesdays next week, we'll talk about project scoping and planning, and we're going to reach back into the springboard for the arts materials, then building a budget. So we're asking that every Art Matters project has that you have a budget, and it's pretty simple. You know, if you've got $3,000, your budget could be, if you're just paying yourself a stipend, you don't have to buy any materials. You just figure out what your hourly is, and you tell us you've worked that many hours, and there's your $3,000. you're going to want to have, you're going to need to keep that on hand. We'll give you a way to submit it in your final report so that we track it for you, so that you don't have to hold on to it forever as well, in case the NEA ever comes to us and looks for it. But it's pretty simple, but it's also a really good practice, and you should know about what your hourly time is if you're responding to a call or you're proposing a project for someone. And then after that, October 11th, Catherine Devine's going to host I think we've got, I'm not sure if I had the right name on it. It's going to have it might even have a better name. But
yeah, we're still getting the details to that, but I'm looking forward to filling all that in and getting that to you. But it's a little bit basically what it's saying, how to go from your art education to actually running a business, and the steps to that in the city of Roanoke.
So that's what Catherine's job is this year through her coaching aspect with the Year of the Artist. And I think Catherine's been doing this a long time and knows lots of the folks who provide these resources in the community. So she's gonna be pulling those together, and we're looking forward to it. So we'll then October 18th, we're going to have a virtual hosting effective meetings session. And then Catherine Schnabel is going to do a workshop around expanding your work as an artist and collaborator. And she's got a background in coaching and artist and project management. And Catherine Schnabel is the one she's really good at project management. So she's the one who's helping to keep everything on track with the reports and such. And we'll go through that all the way down through December 13th. And this kind of regular meeting, you don't have to make it to all of them, pop in when you can. And you'll see we're going to keep recording them. And but it's giving us momentum and rhythm and letting us keep doing good things. Now, Catherine already talked about the third Monday gallery talks. Please do, if you've got a piece in there, sign up for it. If you don't have a piece, come and see what that fourth floor gallery is like. It is fun because it's right before a council meeting, and I think it adds a little bit of energy. Council and last night I wanted to stick around a little bit. I'm glad Catherine stuck around. So I was getting kind of beat, but council can be interesting. And I think having it be a lively space when people come in, I think that helps, even if someone's there to speak on an issue that they could be upset about something, or something that's very important to them. But I think it's helpful that there are people. It's kind of an encouraging community environment outside it when people come in. And that's it. So I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to thank everybody for participating, and I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to just check in.